Welcome to Medical Mondays. I'm Matthew Bulow, aviation attorney over at Ramos Law. Each week, we're going to be breaking down FAA medical guidelines so pilots know exactly what to expect and how to protect their medical certificate. Welcome to another edition of Medical Mondays. Today we're talking about OSA. As the FAA's AME guide points out, obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, can have significant safety implications due to the cognitive impairment resulting from a lack of restorative sleep. If you may be at risk for OSA, then you should familiarize yourself with the FAA's OSA flowchart so you know what to expect at your AME exam. At your physical exam, your AME will determine which of 6 categories you fall into. You can see those 6 categories on the flowchart. If your AME determines that you are not at risk of OSA, then there is no need for further assessment. Your AME can issue a medical certificate in the office as long as you're otherwise qualified. If your AME determines that you are at risk, but not high risk and without severe symptoms that would present an immediate safety risk, then your AME may issue a medical certificate after providing certain educational material regarding OSA risk. Now, even if you are at high risk of OSA, your AME may still issue a medical certificate in office, but they must provide you a spec sheet B, as you can see here, which requires you to obtain and provide some documentation for FAA review within 90 days. That includes an OSA assessment in accordance with the guidelines established by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. The assessment can be conducted by your AME, your primary care provider, or a sleep specialist, but the FAA does not recommend AMEs perform the assessment themselves. If a sleep study is required based on that OSA assessment, then you must get either a Type 1 laboratory polysomnography or a Type 2 home sleep test. The results must be interpreted by a sleep medicine specialist. If you undergo a sleep study, the results and interpretive report must be sent to the FAA regardless of the diagnosis. If you are diagnosed with sleep apnea or any other sleep-related disorder, then you must self-ground immediately and provide a couple of things to the FAA: a signed compliance with treatment form and a detailed clinical progress note from your treating physician that addresses compliance, tolerance of treatment, and resolution of symptoms. If your AME determines that your symptoms are severe enough to represent an immediate safety risk, then you will also be provided with spec sheet B. You'll also be given 90 days to provide the necessary information. The significant difference is that your AME will not be able to issue a medical in office, and they'll have to defer that application for further review by the FAA. If you are given spec sheet B and the necessary information is not provided within 90 days, then the FAA will either deny your application for a medical certificate or revoke the medical that was issued at the time of the exam. Once the necessary information has been provided to the FAA, there are 2 paths to a medical certificate. You have either 1, demonstrated that you do not have OSA and you'll be issued a medical, or 2, you've shown that you do have OSA, but you're effectively treating the condition, in which case you may be granted an authorization for special issuance. For airmen who have been previously assessed for OSA or are being treated for OSA, but have not yet been granted an SI, you will be given spec sheet A, which requires you to provide all reports and records regarding your OSA assessment. If you are currently being treated, you'll also have to provide the compliance with treatment sheet, the results and report of your most recent sleep study, and a status report from your treating doctor noting that the treatment is still effective. For CPAP usage, the FAA's target goal is use for at least 75% of sleep periods and an average minimum of 6 hours of use per sleep period. While an AME may issue a medical certificate in office for previously assessed or currently treated airmen, the information outlined in spec sheet A must be provided within 90 days to avoid denial or revocation. For airmen seeking a special issuance due to OSA, it's strongly recommended that you ask your treating physician to complete and sign the OSA status report initial. This document can streamline the review process at the FAA and ensures that you get that medical in your pocket as soon as possible. Or it might even help you keep the medical that was issued at the time of your physical. Finally, for airmen who have already been granted an SI or an AME-assisted SI for their OSA, then your AME may reissue a medical certificate so long as they are provided with a current status report from your treating physician attesting that the treatment is still effective and they do not identify any concerns such as noncompliance with treatment or development of conditions known to be comorbid with OSA, such as hypertension. Use the OSA research status report to ensure your doctor is providing all the information needed for reissuance. Note that you'll have to provide compliance data from your PAP device over the last year. To have an SI for OSA discontinued or removed, your AME must request as much from the Aerospace Medical Certification Division of the FAA. And in most cases, you're going to have to provide a follow-up sleep study to demonstrate a lack of OSA. While effectively treated OSA is nothing to lose sleep over, the medical certification process can still be a headache. It's never a bad idea to reach out to your AME or an aviation attorney before you submit an application for medical certification to make sure your ducks are in a row and ensure that that process goes smoothly. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Medical Mondays. Be sure to comment down below any questions you might have or topics you'd like us to cover. See you next Monday.